soldier facing an alien invasion, and suddenly a 250-foot-tall robot warrior drops from the sky piloted by humans ready to punch monsters into oblivion. Sounds impossible, right? Well, what if I told you that giant mechs might not be as fictional as you think, and that we're closer to building real ones than ever before? Stick around, because by the end of this video you'll understand exactly why giant robots have captured our imagination for decades and whether we'll ever see real Jaegers stomping through our cities. Giant mechs have dominated science fiction for generations. From the iconic Jaegers in Pacific Rim throwing haymakers at kaiju to the sleek mobile suits in Gundam engaging in epic space battles, these colossal machines represent the ultimate fusion of human ingenuity and raw mechanical power. The Mech Warrior universe gave us walking tanks bristling with weapons, while Evangelion introduced us to biomechanical giants that blur the line between machine and organism. But here's what makes these fictional giants so compelling. They're not just big robots, they're extensions of human will and capability. When we watch a pilot climb into a Jaeger's command center, we're witnessing humanity refusing to be helpless against overwhelming odds. These mechs embody our deepest desire to stand tall against any threat, to literally and figuratively rise above our limitations. However, the gap between Hollywood spectacle and engineering reality is absolutely massive. The first and most brutal obstacle facing any real mech designer is something called the square cube law, and it's a mathematical nightmare that destroys most giant robot dreams before they even begin. Here's how the square cube law works. As you scale any object up, its surface area increases by the square of the scaling factor, but its volume and therefore its weight increases by the cube. So if you make a robot twice as tall, it becomes 4 times as wide but 8 times as heavy. A Pacific Rim Jaeger standing 250 feet tall wouldn't just be a big robot, it would be an impossibly heavy monster that would collapse under its own weight the moment it tried to move. Real bones and muscles can't scale up indefinitely, and neither can steel and motors. The materials that work perfectly in a 6-foot humanoid robot become completely inadequate when you're talking about something the size of a skyscraper. The legs alone would need to be so thick and reinforced that the mech would look nothing like the sleek warriors we see on screen. But let's say we somehow solve the weight problem. Now we face the power source nightmare. A real Jaeger would need an absolutely staggering amount of energy just to stand upright, let alone walk or fight. We're talking about power requirements that would drain a small city's electrical grid in minutes. Current battery technology couldn't even come close to providing the energy density needed, and a nuclear reactor powerful enough to run a giant mech would be so large and heavy that it would make the weight problem even worse. The balance issues are equally terrifying. Humans maintain balance through an incredibly sophisticated system involving our inner ear, proprioception, and constant micro-adjustments. Scaling this up to a 250-foot robot means dealing with massive momentum swings where a single wrong step could send the entire machine toppling over like a falling building. The computational power needed to keep something that large stable while moving would be enormous. So where does this leave us in the real world? Well, we're not building Jaegers anytime soon, but we are making remarkable progress in smaller-scale robotics and exoskeleton technology. Companies like Boston Dynamics have created robots that can run, jump, and navigate complex terrain with grace that seemed impossible just a decade ago. Their Atlas robot demonstrates incredible balance and agility at human scale. Military exoskeletons are also advancing rapidly. Systems like the Talos program aim to give soldiers superhuman strength and protection, essentially turning them into small-scale mechs. These powered suits can enhance human capability dramatically while remaining practical and deployable. The closest thing we have to real mechs today are probably the large construction and mining robots used in industrial applications. These machines are massive, powerful, and demonstrate that we can build substantial robotic systems, just not humanoid ones that walk around. Interestingly, some engineers are exploring alternative designs that might make larger mechs more feasible. Instead of bipedal humanoid forms, future real mechs might use 4 or 6 legs for better stability, or even hybrid designs that can roll on wheels when speed is needed but transform for specific tasks. The material science revolution could also change everything. Advanced composites, metamaterials, and potentially even exotic materials we haven't discovered yet might eventually allow us to build larger robots without the crushing weight penalties we face today. But here's the fascinating part about our mech obsession. Even if we never build giant humanoid robots, the dream of piloting powerful mechanical extensions of ourselves is driving real innovation. Every advance in robotics, every breakthrough in human-machine interfaces, every improvement in powered exoskeletons brings us closer to that fundamental vision of enhanced human capability. Virtual and augmented reality are also creating new ways to experience mech piloting without the engineering impossibilities. Companies are developing full-body haptic suits that let you feel like you're controlling a giant robot while remaining safely in a simulation. Maybe the future of mechs isn't about building literal giants, but about creating seamless integration between human intelligence and robotic capability. Perhaps instead of climbing into a cockpit, future mech pilots will control swarms of smaller robots or operate through neural interfaces that make the distinction between human and machine irrelevant. The dream of giant mechs reveals something profound about human nature. We don't just want to be passengers in our technology, we want to be active participants. We want to feel the weight of mechanical limbs responding to our thoughts and the power of engineered strength flowing through artificial muscles. So will we ever build real Jaegers? Probably not exactly as depicted in movies. But will we create something that captures the essential spirit of giant mechs, the fusion of human will with mechanical might? That future might be closer than we think, just in forms we haven't imagined yet. What do you think? Are we destined to remain earthbound, or will human ingenuity eventually find a way to make giant mechs a reality? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know what kind of mech you'd want to pilot. If you enjoyed diving deep into the science behind science fiction, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell because next week we're exploring whether we could actually build a real lightsaber. Trust me, the physics gets wild.